Welcome to Pit Nerds, everybody. We are talking cars on the auction site. My name is John Polnik. I am your host for the next half hour or so on Bid Nerds, your daily nerd out on the most interesting car of the day from all the automotive auction sites. We record this show in Las Vegas, in the downtown Las Vegas Container Park. My partner's coming to us from San Francisco. How are you, Michael Deeb, my partner? What's up?
Woohoo, JP. Man, I love me some air-cooled Porsches, so let's get right into it. This car is cool.
Michael Deeb teasing the car of the day. Let's get right to that car. I mean, come on, let's just do it. Let's do this thing right after you guys hit the subscribe, like, and notification button. If you're new to this show, thanks for checking it out. We hope you like this episode. We hope you hit the subscribe, like, and notification button. And for those of you who have been watching, we really, really appreciate you doing so. And I know a lot of people, they kind of took off for a little bit when we took a break over the holiday, but now we're seeing a lot of people are coming back. So thanks for hanging out with us. We really love you guys, and keep doing the work of spreading the word, sharing a nerd, and growing the herd. All right, Michael Deeb. We have teased the car enough. This is the kind of car. Look, I think our friends at God and Porsche of Las Vegas have one almost identical to this one. It's going to be interesting to see the details on this one. Yeah. Tell us all about this beautiful 911. Shocking, we're talking about a 911.
If you can buy this car from Godden, you should run down there right now and go get it, because this car is spectacular. JP, we have... what we're looking at, first of all, is a 1983 Porsche 911 SC Coupe. Okay, big deal, right? We have often compared other unusual cars. Like, if you modify this car, does it hurt the value? And if it hurts the value and you're going to pay less, why not just get the nicest SC? Because if you just got a standard SC, that'd be a better car. Well, I picked this car because it's on Bring a Trailer out of East Durham, North Carolina. Means that it's for sale by Road Scholars, the experts out there in East Durham. They have been working on Porsches. They are experts in that sort of southeast region. If you live anywhere in the surrounding states, North Carolina, this is where you'd want to bring your car. This is where you'd want to buy a car. Those guys are great down there. They sourced this 9,000 mile example, JP, just 9,000 miles. It's platinum metallic paint, and it's a lot of times when you get platinum metallic, it's some sort of brown or tan interior. This car has an all black leather interior. I think it's awesome. It's equipped with the T-Tray spoiler from the turbo. It also has a limited slip differential from the factory, 16-inch Fuchs, air conditioning, sunroof. I mean, there is a lot to like on this car. I am infatuated with the condition, with the specification. Just everything about this car ticks all the boxes for me. What's interesting is that I actually think this car is going to break the bank. You know, we just joked. It's been like this running punchline that, oh, well, you can just pick up an SC, pick up the nicest SC. What's it going to cost you? 50, 60 grand now? I think this car is going to just absolutely be a stratospheric number. They included the original window sticker. You got a reputable seller. You've got an unbelievable odometer. I think this car is just, like ding, ding, ding. I think this car is going to throw a haymaker, and it should be really fun to see where this car lands. So, JP, you and I should have bought this car 6 years ago when we could have stole it, because I think we would have doubled our money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just bonkers. I think this car is going to bring big money. So I'll send it to you, JP. You know SCs better than I do. Interestingly, in 83, you had mentioned to me offline that in 83 was the only year that they made coupes, Targas, and convertibles. Well, in 1983, Porsche made 5,600 SCs for the world in those three different body styles. So by the numbers, it's not a rare car, but when you consider the paintway, when you consider the odometer and the specification, I think this becomes a very rare car. And that's why I think it's going to do so well. So, JP, I send you this 83 SC with just 9,000 miles on the odometer. What do you like, and what are you afraid of?
The only thing that bums me out on this car, if I'm honest, is that it has too few miles. I mean,
right.
how many miles? 10,000 miles. That may as well
Less
be
than.
like,
Yep.
1,000 miles on any other car. That is the almost delivery miles on one of these. The magic, the sweet spot, the great thing about SEs is they usually represent a value, right? It's the type of car that, okay, you can go out. It doesn't really matter what the miles are because they are so insanely reliable. So it doesn't matter if it has 150,000 miles on it. So what? Worst case scenario, you got to rebuild the top end or whatever, and that costs you a little bit of money, or a lot of bit of money, but it'll last for another 100,000 miles. I mean, these things are the best sports car ever because you can just ride them hard, throw them away wet. You can abuse them, and they will just keep giving back to you. These are fantastic cars. So it's usually an alternative because it represents value. This one being few low miles, most SEs have had the snot driven out of them. So this is the kind of car that I suspect someone's going to get, and they're not going to drive the heck out of it. And that's kind of a shame because this car is made for driving. I'm a little bit bummed about it. I'm not a fan of this color. I don't think this color, this color is not a popular color. Gold is about this kind of, I know it's a fancier sounding color, but really this is just old man champagne 80s, gold.
Yeah.
It's just a terrible, terrible color. If this car were silver or even red or any other color, especially the bright colors, it would bring big time money. This car's going to bring big time money anyway, but the premium would really be if it had a special color. Is this not the least popular color of any Porsche ever? What do you think, Michael Deeb?
Well, all right. So it pains me to agree with your take that it might be one of the least popular colors, but I disagree with you on, like, color is so subjective, right? I actually love this color. I think it looks great. I've had 190 Mercedes in smoke silver, which is very similar to this. And with this generation, this era of Porsches, what's so cool about it, the windows surrounds and the rubber on the bumpers, there's so many black accents to this car that I think it toughens up the gold. Like champagne on its own would be a very feminine color or very old man color. Very old lawyer kind of color. But I think with the black, those real thin stone guards ahead of the rear wheels, or issuing that and going Carrera script and then some black Dur stickers on this, I think this car would look really, really cool. I love the big, thick black 911 SC emblem that's on the back of the car. So I just think that the black kind of gives it a butch tone, and the fact that it's gold, I love it. But I do understand that I'm probably in the minority there. So there you go. Anyway,
I don't know. Throw some H4s on it and it looks great. I don't hate the color.
Get rid of the sugar scoops.
I'm just saying it's just not the most. There are better colors for 911s. And honestly, personally,
but it's representative of the era.
Yeah, personally, I would prefer this color over red or blue or burgundy or green or almost any other pedestrian 80s color. I mean, the only color, I prefer silvers, blacks, and whites. So but most Porsche people want Mexico blue and that kind of thing. So I don't know, whatever. This car, all those things, the H4s could be easily remedied. Everything else in this car is perfect. I'm with you. The black interior definitely helps the color.
And black headliner too. You probably saw that in the photos. It's a really nice spec car. Yeah.
All right. So what is this car? Excuse me. What is this car going to bring?
All right, JP. Our car doesn't close for like another 5 days as we're looking ahead, but our car currently sits already at like an SC record at $61,983, and it's got 5 days to go. John, that 63. What did I say? 63,000 was on. It's changed since we started covering the thing. So 61,983. I'm going to scroll for just a half a second and tell you that is representative of 6 bids. I think I'm going to go, and it might be light, but I'm going to go $135,000 on this 911 SC. I think the fact that it's attached to the Road Scholars brand really helps it. The 9,000 miles, original window sticker, limited slip diff, a rarer paint, even if it's not a popular paint. I think it ticks all the boxes to be, unfortunately, like you said, not driven. The Achilles is that whoever owns it's probably not going to go out and enjoy it, and that's a bummer. this is probably the most fun 172 horsepower you could have. I would love to drive it. I wish I owned this car with 109,000 miles because then I could afford it. But I think this one, I'd be shocked if this car brought less than 135,000. I'm pretty adamant that this car is going to bring big money.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. I mean, there's a lot of hubbub in the market in all asset classes. People are talking about everything from bubbles, interest rates, what's going to happen with the economy, blah, 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 blah. But blue chip Porsche, classic Porsches continue to bring record money. And we've already seen really clean SCs break 100. So $135,000 bid makes sense. I am gonna back off from that just a little bit, though. I don't know if it's gonna be. If it were a different color, I would say yeah, $135. But I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna say $130, which is probably that's pretty aggressive. I don't know. That's pretty high. God, it's just hard to imagine an SC bringing that kind of money. But this is a G-Body 911 with 10,000 miles, so it doesn't matter if it were a mid-year, an SC or a Carrera or a G50. This kind of miles, you're definitely breaking 100. So from there, how much more than 100? If this were a G50 car, for sure. If it were a Carrera, absolutely $135. But
yeah, everything on this car. Yeah, everything on this car on a G50, an 87, 88, 89, 3.2 with 9,000 miles. I mean, you'd be looking at over $200,000, my friend.
You think? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but we'll save that for another episode and another car. What do you guys think out there? Is this car worth more than $100,000? Are people or is just inflation just so out of control that this should be a $40,000 car? Remember when the nicest SC there was $40,000, right?
Absolutely. That's what I was hinting at the beginning of the show is like our little punchline for SCs after this lot closes, won't apply anymore. You know what I mean?
The nicest SC is a $130,000 car. Okay. What do you guys think? Put it, now's the time to lock in your bid to play along with us. And then hit the subscribe, like, and notification button if you haven't done that already. And we're going to find out what happened with this little gold SC in about 30 seconds. Hey guys, I got to tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you got to call our friend Steve at Godden. This guy.
1989 linen gray metallic G50 cab.
Is that going to be for sale?
It is going to be for sale. The car only has 65,000 miles.
Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. All right, welcome back, everyone, to Bid Nerd, your daily nerd out on the most interesting car of the day from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites. All right, Michael Deeb, here it is, this 9,000-mile SC. What happened with the results of this car's auction now that we are here in the future?
All right, John. Well, I pulled your bid up. I went big on our 9,000-mile SC out of Road Scholars collection. I thought this car would trip at $135,000. You followed me up there and said 130 grand. I'm going to do this to you twice in 1 week. I still think we're right. Our car was bid to $101,983, where it failed to sell on Bring a Trailer last Saturday on just 14 bids. Not a lot of action in this car on the weekend. Not a lot of love for this, kind of hermetically sealed SC. I mean, beautiful car. You did have an argument about the color. I'll give you this one, John. Part of your argument for taking the under on this was you didn't think this color would have the broad appeal necessary to set a high watermark. At least that's what I remember from our conversation before we went to break to see what happened with this car. So it's interesting because it did break $100,000 and then the bidding just stopped right at essentially 100 grand. So does the audience think that, a gold SC, even though it's got like 0 miles on it, isn't worth more than that? Or is the market cooling and people are like, I'm not going to chase this car? It's really interesting. Again, I'm Road Scholars sort of like every time they sell a car, they sell cars that are basically excellent examples of the model, and then they usually sell them for above top of the market pricing, kind of like Sloan does in Pennsylvania and Canepa does down here in Monterey. Um, these guys in North Carolina, they set the market when they sell a car, and so I kind of saw the writing on the wall that this car would have to bring 125, 130 grand in order to sell with them. And I thought it would because of the reputation. Our car kind of stopped at 100 grand, and the audience was like, well, I'm not going to pay that much for this SC, but it didn't meet the reserve also. So, I'm not making excuses, but I definitely know that Road Scholars wasn't going to let this car go for less than 100 grand. It's too nice. It's too rare. It's too unusual. You cannot find another comparable car like it. They really don't exist. So, we're kind of in purgatory. They'll just put it back on their website. One of their collectors will eventually buy the car. But a big disappointment, a big letdown, but an interesting mirror held up to the market for this car. What do you make of all this? How do you read the tea leaves, John, based on what we saw here? Because $102,000 is a lot of money for an SC, but it wasn't enough for this SC. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's still just an SC. I mean, I know it's a low
Right?
miles, but it's a boring color. You're right. That's what I said. And I stand by that. I I don't think this is a cooling of the market. And I think we were just straight up wrong. You mentioned with the light bow that, okay, that was just such a rare car that the collectors that know what it is just weren't in the room. Everyone knows what an SC is, and everyone has seen some pretty high numbers for SCs, but this one, it's just an SC. I'm sorry. Anything over $100,000, it better be not only perfect, but it has to be like, stunning or in color or whatever. I just think at 100+ grand, there are other options. Everyone in the world knows what this 911 SC is. And now I think this car is burned. I don't think there's any way in hell this car gets more than what it was bid up to. You could maybe make an argument that the weekend thing may have hurt it, but it wasn't an NFL weekend. The weekend that this car was on was in between the playoffs and the Super Bowl, so you've got a big gap there anyway. So yeah, I think that this car is just not interesting enough. I think the fact that it's an SC means that it's just going to cap out. I mean, it's an SC. If it were a Carrera, even if it were a mid-year, I think it would have brought more money, even in the same color. Sure. It used to be that mid-years nobody wanted. Now everybody wants the mid-years. Yeah, I think SC is just. I say just an SC as if an SC isn't an awesome car. An SC is a fantastic car, but it is the value 911. Let's be honest. It's the 911 you get when you don't have money for some other 911 that you actually want.
Yeah. True. It's very interesting. Limited slip differential. It's got the wing. It's super low miles. Technically a rare color, but certainly not maybe a desirable color. And boy, just kind of 102,000, and the audience spoke. So yeah, very interesting. If somebody consigned this car through Road Scholars and they didn't meet their mark, that's got to be a tough conversation to have. That there's got to be a big letdown there. Bummed to not see this car set a new watermark, but I'm sort of with you, John. I can understand why.
If this car were just for sale, I mean, how many other cars do we see? RS cars, not RS cars, but the Road Scholar cars. Yeah. Have we seen many of those hit BAT, and have they usually brought big money?
They do, but they bring really unusual money. So for sake of argument, they have another car on Bring a Trailer right now that we are not reviewing. Mm-hmm. And it is a 964 Turbo S slant nose. I mean, like a double unicorn. Like wow. It's, you know what I mean? Like imagine a unicorn with two horns. Like it's going to be like, so, I mean, I'm not even sure, but I'm guessing that's a $1.5 million car. And it's in a like kind of a beautiful slate gray. So it's like an attractive colorway for the car, but by the numbers, it's probably like one of 8 or something. It's a really rare car, but that's the kind of stuff they transact all the time. They do really rare contemporary cars, and then really special, like, classic racing cars. Like right now, they've got like a 908 for sale on their website with no price, but like got to be a $4, $5, $6 million race car, like
Do they?
It's just
I
unbelievable.
mean, it's like I just want. I get why they put this on BAT because there is still all the buzz. Oh, it's an air cooled car, so that's where you're going to get the most money for something like this. But
Right.
yeah, I feel like they may have been able to get more money for it if it were just sitting on the showroom floor and someone walked in. I mean, for 120 for a collector level 911
Right.
isn't that much money in that ballpark, in that
Yeah.
type of car, right? I mean, it's a lot
Right.
of money for me, but for a lot of people that are looking to spend 100, 150, $200,000 for something collectible, I could see someone walking in, being attracted to that 908 or seeing the flat nose 964 on BAT. I feel like if you're going to put something on BAT, put the big badass stuff and then the cars, and let that bring traffic to your dealership so people buy the stuff that's not not the creme de la creme, even though this
Yeah.
kind of is for an SC, but it's the best SC. That's
Th-
eh.
Their recent transactions are a 2016 911R,
Mhm.
a BMW Alpina Roadster V8, the Z8 car.
Oh yeah.
Um, Back in November, just last year, they sold a 1992 911 Carrera RS in ruby stone with like almost no miles on it for $470,000. And then in December, they sold a 69 911S for 130 grand. So they're a little bit of everything, but oftentimes they have some really rare stuff. So and they're great guys back there. They really know their stuff and they're nice people. So shout out to Road Scholars. If you're interested in this car, you should follow up with them because it's a really nice car.
Well, in the last few weeks, we have seen some pretty crazy numbers on some, stuff like, what was it last week? We saw that 92 Volkswagen
Uh-huh.
GTI bring
Right.
$87,000. I mean, that's almost as much as this car got bid up to.
Right.
That's not that far away, right? I mean, yet,
Not
so,
at all.
and we've seen some interesting stuff in other asset classes. The stock market has kind of seen just, it's been pretty volatile, but it's been shooting up. It's been on a tear. There's a lot of people were cashing out. I think at the end of the year and kind of
Uh-huh.
offsetting losses for. So we've seen some odd stuff going on in normal kind of investing. Bitcoin and all those kind of things have kind of gone back up a little bit. Um, and that's just, I think, there's also the Feds have announced that there's still going to be a couple more increases, but you're talking about 25 bips instead of 50 or 100. So that's kind of gotten
Oof.
the market. People are going, oh,
Ouch.
that's, well, I mean, you say ouch, right? And it's not good, but at 25 bips, that's a quarter of a percentage point, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
they were still talking, but by this point, first quarter in this year that there'd be 50 bips each time that they were going up. So that's a lower increase than they thought. They say that
Right.
we are in not a deflationary period, but a de-inflationary period. It's like this weird classification, and I still think that that's a lot of BS. They're still changing the way that they calculate inflation. I mean, go try to buy some eggs, right? I think that's maybe that must have been who bought that GTI, somebody that just flipped a bunch of eggs or whatever. But so there's all kinds of weird stuff going on in the market. People are still really tense. People still think that there's going to be a recession. But maybe it'll be a little softer landing than they thought, or maybe it's just going to be pushed off to the end of the year. Who knows? I mean, who the heck knows? But we have seen, shucks, Tesla has seen what has almost doubled in a month. You know, Amazon, same thing. So I don't know the cars as investments. It seems like there's still a bunch of extra money out there kind of floating around, and people are still going, well, it's too volatile to put it in the stock market or put it in anything else. So screw it. I'll just buy a car that I can drive around in if everything goes to hell. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to do, And then it's always fun to identify a car that might go up in value, but boy, if you're gonna get stuck with something you really like. So buy a car that makes you happy. Even if this car transacted for 102 and people thought they were nuts, you'd still have the nicest SC and it's your car. Like I don't see a problem with this at all. That Everything else doesn't seem as secure, so why not enjoy this,
Yeah. Well, the dealership isn't going to enjoy it. It's just going to sit there on their lot. So what do you guys think? Was this failure to sell indicative of finally a cooling off? Or do you think it was just a boring SC that, as nice as it was, it's just too boring an SC that, that the sellers should have sold it for 101 or whatever it went to? Let us know in the comments below. We sure like seeing what you guys have to say. Did you bid better than the bid nerds this week? Let us know in the comments. We got to start giving away some prizes. Ross and some of the other folks that the nerd herd is just great. Thanks guys for watching. We really do appreciate you guys that subscribe and like and hit the notification and share the nerd herd out there. Let's grow this herd and let's build the Nerd Nation. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We will see you tomorrow.
Nerd! Get those nerds!